Let's close this out with Iowa State, another team with a 5.5 win total. For what it's worth, last year 8-4, 5-4 in conference. You can basically throw that out the window. That was the Matt Campbell era.
There's nothing you can take from last season and be like, okay, they did nothing.
Nothing. Matt Campbell goes to Penn State. The entire roster pretty much went elsewhere, some of it ended up going to Penn State. But Jimmy Rogers steps in. He spent about 15 minutes at Wazoo. I know you like to tell that joke, but did a good job while he was there. They were competitive.
Also a tough situation.
Very tough situation. They were very competitive against Ole Miss, UVA, and James Madison. He could be the best coach in the world, Dan.
Mm-hmm.
So much turnover here. 60 new players, as many as 16 new starters, by the way, who could come from the G6, FCS, and D2 ranks.
I saw this. The University of Sioux Falls, yeah?
So, no disrespect to these guys. I'm glad they're getting their moment. It could be a bit of a transition here for Iowa State, taking on that many new guys from, let's be honest, the non-Power 4 ranks.
Agree.
I think this year is going to look a lot like under center, pro style, motion, play action, stuff like that. I don't think they're going to ask their new quarterback, Jaylen Raynor from Arkansas State, to sling it 50 times a game. This is going to be a lot of ball control. It's going to be a lot of quick passes. Some of Jaylen Raynor's abilities to run on display. I like their running backs. I like Aiden Flora, Cam Pettaway, running back a lot, by the way. But I'll be interested to see how they use Jaylen Raynor, because this is a guy I was all in on last year. You tell the joke, we told it earlier in the year. I talked for like 25 minutes on the Arkansas State preview last year because of how high I was on Jaylen Raynor. Now, he didn't have a good year, the banner season that I was hoping for, but he comes over with his quarterback coach, with his tight end. He does need to be better. He needs to not turn the ball over nearly as much and needs to move quicker, because the competition and everything about the Big 12 is going to be a grade above what he saw in the Sun Belt. But I don't hate Jaylen Raynor starting quarterback Iowa State. I'm okay with that.
Okay, Jaylen Raynor was, I think, one of the worst quarterbacks in the Sun Belt last year. In terms of his production, he was not very good. He didn't go downfield all that well. His yards per attempt were very, very, it was like 11th out of 12 or something.
Yeah, it wasn't a good year.
And now you're putting him behind a combination FCS D2 MAC offensive line in spots. There's some intriguing names, maybe at the skill positions. If it works out, guys who've been like, well, he's starting at running back, or he's the number 2 running back, hasn't really carried the ball, but is a returner. We're like, well, okay. Let's hope that translates into something. I think there is some intrigue up front on defense with some of those transfers.
Yeah, and they're switching the system, too.
They're switching the system away from the Heacock 3-3-5.
The 3-3-5 is gone. Jesse Bobbit is the name of the new defensive coordinator who comes from Wazoo with Jimmy Rogers. Going to be more 4-2-5. Going to be more emphasis on creating pressure with the front 4, as opposed to the Heacock system, which was more space eaters up front and let the linebackers do it. I think the line will be okay. The back 7's really concerning to me.
There's a lot of new faces.
That troubles me.
Filling in the blanks.
Yes.
There's also concern on my part for an offense at Iowa State that by early-ish October is on the road at Iowa, has Utah and a road game at BYU by, again, like early-ish in October. The defense is maybe more gettable later on in the season, but I don't know. Kansas State might have a defense by the time they play. Oklahoma State could be interesting. Cincinnati could be. UCF might have. That's on the road. Arizona, we'll see how they bounce back after losing the guys they did in the back end of that defense. But I just think there's just too many uphill situations for Iowa State to go bowling this year. I have them at like 3-9, 4-8.
Yeah. I think
it feels like a year 0 situation.
I think I'm of similar mind. I mean, Jimmy Rogers did do a really good job at Wazoo.
Yeah.
So I don't want to rule out a situation where he steps in and suddenly they do a lot better than expected. I'm just not seeing the talent level on this roster being up to par with what they're going to face elsewhere in the Big 12. Mind you, we're saying 3-9, 4-8.
Yeah.
This is a schedule that also misses Texas Tech and Houston, but still gets 5 top 30 caliber teams. So even though maybe they're not playing the top of the top, or the perceived top of the top, it's still pretty meaty throughout. And I think they'll be tested. I'm not sure that this roster has enough juice to go toe-to-toe with what they're up against here. So I'm with you. I would be inclined to go under. Not for lack of respect. I think Jimmy Rogers has done a pretty good job here in very short order putting a roster together, but it's going to take a minute.
I think so too.